Football team in order to top academics to students of this class. Ladies and gentlemen, valedictorian of the class of 2013 is Keenan here.
Thank you. So as I began to write my valedictorian speech, I found it almost impossible. My fingers moved as if in honey, and I seemed to forget what the keyboard was for. After staring in silence for a long time at all the nothing I had written on my document, I started to think on why it was such a trial to write this speech. And suddenly it dawned on me. This speech was so hard to write because it was wide open. There were no requirements other than just filling 5 minutes of your time. And I realized that this was so difficult because I had lived my entire life, much like the rest of the graduates here today. We lived in boundaries. You see, these boundaries started back in kindergarten. From this day, we were always just a name to be checked off of a list. Nap time was at 10 and snacks at 11:30. But these boundaries, they grew as we did. In elementary school, we were given small amounts of freedom when we could handle it. And by the time we entered high school, it was such a stunning idea. We can walk to the bathroom without asking now. But it wasn't only the walls and the teachers that hemmed us in. Even mental attitudes kept us within the box. Does anyone here remember the Game of Life? This beautiful, wonderful little game. It showed us the future, our future, which as far as I knew consisted of nothing but a narrow and brightly colored plastic path ahead. It was great. It had preordained events and stopping points. Winding along that beautiful road, you always knew where you were going and what your decisions led to. And at the end, there was always a place right there for you at Millionaire's Grove. You could so clearly see the winners and the losers there. Now, this may be a bit of a traumatic statement I'm going to say, but Hasbro lied to you. Yes, Hasbro in their Game of Life lied to all of us. You see, as I stand now on the brink of graduation with one toe hanging over the abyss, I'm beginning to realize that our futures, unlike the Game of Life, are not preordained. There's a path, but it is nigh impossible to see, and it's always changing. Our decisions don't lead down a brightly colored plastic board, and we can almost never know where they'll make us end up. I mean, you know your decisions, but where they lead is in such a thick haze, it's nigh impossible to comprehend. There's a rule book, but it seems different for each one of us, and it seems that since it is our lives, it is our rules. And as such, it is impossible to tell who has won and who has lost at the end. Worst of all, I have yet to see the giant set of dice that moves each one of us. But I have no problems with this lack of definition and direction that the world has shockingly been made without. Our grad class is already forging ahead and making the future our own. We have those that are staying a year to work, others entering the military, and I have heard talks of universities and colleges beyond count. Even one person headed to Ireland. Now you see, this lack of a map is no hindrance because now the boundaries have dissolved around us, and we are no longer just a name to be checked off of a list. There are no more required courses. Everything for the rest of our lives is an elective. And rather than being stymied by the possibilities, our grads are leaping and running at each new opportunity. Because that's what we have, a world of opportunity. So now is when we run off and begin living in the world, and those that know us are getting a little scared. But as bleak as the world may look through CBC News, I'd like to remind us that the world is getting better, and we're all on the march towards a better future. 100 years ago, children and women had no rights, and 40 years ago it was the same for minorities. And I'm certain that our grad class is going to take the torch of civilization and continue to make the world a little bit better every step of the way. So as I wrote this speech, I found myself dwelling more and more on the graduation ceremony itself. A nagging thought kept pressing in on the back of my mind, and it took me a while to articulate what this question truly was. But here it is as I understand it. What are you people doing here? Honestly, in this hot hall, listening to speeches by people you don't know, I sat back and wondered why all of you, parents, family, friends, and teachers are sitting here, and suddenly it hit me. You're all sitting in this room listening to me because all of you have had an influence on the people on this stage. Throughout all of our lives, it has been all of you who have guided us, taught us, and helped us in our struggles. We all owe you a great debt because I can say with certainty that no one on this stage would be who they are today if it weren't for all of you. The teachers who have guided our learning and showed us the many wonders of the world, our friends who have stayed by our side and helped us through any struggle, and finally the parents who raised us up to be those people on this stage right now. So I'd like to thank you, on behalf of the grads of 2013, to all of you in the audience. Thank you for making us the people that we are today. Now I know that traditionally the valedictorian gets applauded after the speech, but in this case, I would like to ask the grads of 2013 would please stand up. Come on, guys. And I was wondering if we could all applaud you. Thank you.